Hello, everybody. My name is Diana, and this is the webinar about how to create your website in one day with no coding experience. I work as web developer and web accessibility expert for years, and I know how to create it fast and efficiently, and especially with the extra focus on user experience and accessibility. So first I will show you one slide, just a little bit of information about me, my experience, and why I share with you my this webinar and this information. So here is a small information about me. I have a bachelor in biotechnology and master in biomechanics. I studied in France for several years, and for the last almost 7 years, I work in Paris as web developer. And during the last several years, I also concentrate on web accessibility. Web accessibility literally means that you make your site or digital product, because it can be PDF or presentation or an app, accessible to everybody. So everybody can read this information or get information through the screen reader. Everybody can buy things on your product or use every interactive element on the site. I know how to do it accessible for everybody so that every person can read about you, get information about you, or use your service or buy your product. And that's why we need a site. That's the reason, and I'm helping to make it possible. So the first thing to do if you want to have a site, if you want to create a website, is to understand, do you want to do it by yourself? Maybe you're eager to learn something new, and there are a lot of free templates, HTML and CSS for the site. So you can just watch in one video, just download a template and fill it with your information and your images, and voila, you can publish it using hosting and domain name. You need these two parts for no matter which site you want to create. But if, and as I mentioned for this webinar, you don't have coding experience and you're not planning to learn something new, then I would recommend to use a site constructor. So I just put in Google, just in the search bar, the name site constructors, and you can see that there are a lot of links that lead to different sites that help you to create your website. Some of them they're for free, some not. Like one of the examples of the sites which is for free, it's Wix, for example. And here you can see that there are a lot of opportunities. You can choose for what exactly you need, but I would recommend it only if you need a site. First, you don't have a budget for a site, and you just want to provide information about you, just personal information, because they provide for a free version of the site advertising on your site. So you will not have your personalized domain name. It will always include Wix, their name. And so these influence your appearance in Google search or any other search options. Like you need to have your own domain name in order to differentiate. But here it will always be connected with Wix, and they put advertising on your site. And if it's just personal information, it's fine. But if you have a brand or reputation, then I wouldn't recommend to use a free version, like some free site, free constructor. It's better to pay a little bit, which is actually not so expensive. And we will go closer to this question a little bit later. But so the first step is to understand what you need. And the second step is to choose a site constructor. As I mentioned, so if you need to have a site just with personal information, just about you, with your experience, just a link that will show some text and several images about you, then you can use Wix. If you need to have a site for your brand or for professional reason, then it's better to use, I would say, WordPress or any other site constructor, but not a free version. Like this, you can use your personalized domain name. You will not have advertising on your page, on your site, and it's quite easy to use. I will show you precisely how to work with WordPress a little bit later. And final step, so if you need to sell on your site, so you need online boutique, online shop, in this case, I would suggest that you use Shopify, because just recently I finished a site for my client and I checked its accessibility and I saw that actually it's on very good level. So automatically Shopify makes it accessible, makes it with good user experience. And this is very important. As I remember, they have 3 months of free usage. So this is quite good. So you can try to see if you like the way how it works, if you understand everything, if you feel at ease creating content using this constructor. Today I will concentrate on WordPress because this is the site constructor that allow you to, first it's built in many other sites, like it's built in many hostings. Like for example, if you go on OVH, which is um, the most popular hosting service, and for the domain as well, for the domain names, I mean, in France. If you go there, you can just click built-in model WordPress or PrestaShop or something else, and it's going to be already inside, and you can just click to create your page, the access mode, so you can enter as administrator and you can just create your site. Today I will show you how to work with it and how to personalize it, and after you understood what kind of site you need, second step is to choose the site constructor. So it's whether free one like Wix or WordPress, like for example, for your brand site, for the site where you will show your services, or Shopify if you need the site on which people can buy something from you or pay for something, pay for services or book something. The third step is to think about the content, because you need to differentiate among all other sites, and for your potential clients or already the clients that you have, they need to differentiate you. And this is about public image, and for this you can use for free, for example, Canva, because it's quite easy and you don't need to pay for it. And for example, we will take a look at examples of logo. This is very important to create a logo that will be accessible and that can differentiate you among all other services and competitors. What is important thing about logo? Like for example, we can try this one. Like I can say already that this color is not very accessible. And what it means accessible, I will show you. It's quite easy to show. So if I make all the color like well, I will change it to black. Let me change everything to black and white. So this is the best contrast. Like this, we can read IHM boutique. Everything is readable, everything is understood, and better to be as big as possible. Like, for example, like this. So black and white would be the best choice because it's the most readable. But we also want to see, we want to provide individuality. personalize it, to use the colors that mean something, that connect to our company, to our services. Like for example, for me, it's green because this is about life. It's about something alive, and me as bioengineer, I prefer this color, and I chose the green color for my logo. But here I will show you what it means to be inaccessible. So, for example, if I choose this and I also make it like this, you can see that it's much harder uh, to read boutique. Or better, I will show you in another way. Just a second. I will just copy this, and I will show you two versions. So you can see on the left one, we will have accessible version. And on the right, we will have the version that will be not accessible, so that you can see the difference between them. And I will choose like, for example, this color. You can see that if you look at the left side, it's very easy. We don't need to make some extra effort with our eyes. But the right one, even for me, like I need to close my eyes more. I can feel that the muscles, they work more, and I don't have any problems even with my eyes. I don't really, I can read anything, and I don't have any disease. So we need to think in advance, how will people see it and whether they can see at all your logotype. So this is a very good contrast. This and this is not. And this is the difference. You need to create your other content, and here in Canva you can choose, for example, um, some photos. There are a lot of free photos that you can use. Like, for example, for the first banner on the side, you can use something like this. Of course, depending on the size and what you want to show, but there are a lot of photos that can be used. This is very light, and for these, for example, especially if you would make it a little bit more transparent, I would say you can use like black text on it, and it can be seen very well. This will provide a good contrast, and it's readable, so your site will be accessible for everybody. And now we will move to the third part, to the work with WordPress. So I will show specifically when we create an account on WordPress. When we create an account on the site with hosting and domain name, so we buy hosting with the module already existing inside WordPress or Shopify or PrestaShop or something else, then you will have a built-in module. Like, for example, here, what I have. And when you open this WordPress, when you create your account, you will be able to see you will be able to personalize your site, and that's how it will look no matter which theme you will use. There are different themes, different template with which you can play, but anyway, you always will have a button personalize, and that's what I will show, because here that's where we determine the personality of your site, and all the pages that will include the menu, the colors, the fonts, and that's what make it different from the competitors. Okay, so here you will see that there are some global settings. We can check what they have here, like typography. You can choose which fonts you prefer. So first we start with the text that the fonts that you already like, or the fonts that represent. Like here, for example, I already used, I think it's Montserrat. That's what I used here. Well, we can try to check. Oh, no, it's not here. This is just for titre, for the like headings on the side. Okay, so yes, here it can be. Oh, and it's a very good example to show you how inaccessible it becomes. It's beautiful, this font, but depending, of course, on the size, it's very hard to read. Like I already proposed after that, like probably it's AV, but I'm not sure exactly what's written there. Even me, even though I created this menu some time ago, I cannot read what is there. So it's important to choose the font that is readable, and accessibility should come first and beauty should come second. This is important. We need to be practical. The most important is that people should see and understand what is on the side and what you provide. So we can just try different ones. Okay. Here we also can see that there is a problem with this Mula font, that French A with apostrophe. It's not possible here. It's not included in this font. So you need to check. Yes, here, for example, it's very beautiful font, but it's again not easy to read. So I would suggest not to use it, especially for the menu. If you want to use, like, for example, for the heading something, it's possible, because you will just have like 1, 2, 3 words short, and that's it. So, and it will have much bigger size, the font size, so it will be easier to understand what's written. But for the menu, for the parts that are repeatedly staying the same, that show consistency of the side, and it's on every page, this is not good, and preferably we need to be more practical about this. So that's how it looks, different fonts. We will just try one more. Okay. But I used Montserrat, and these looked quite good. I would recommend it. The size, the font size, maybe like 18 or 17. This seems to be good. It shouldn't be less than 14 for accessibility purposes, but otherwise it's really hard to read, and people, they need to increase the size. Sometimes it's easy with some engines like Google. You can easily increase it, and on the phone you can use your fingers, but you need to think about people who cannot do this in such automatic way, for whom it's not that easy. If the person, for example, is using screen reader, if the person cannot see your side, and it's so he cannot read the elements, or for example, he can some people, they can see your site, but they cannot understand the information from visual point. So for this, they will use screen reader, and if the elements, they are not programmed in the way so that the screen reader can read it, that's the problem. So we need to think about all these details, but the most important, what you can do is to make the color accessible. Like here, you can see black and white, so you can read, and there is no problem. So here you can choose the font. Later, you can choose the style, the colors. You can play with it with just what you prefer. As I said, for me, it's green. I prefer this color. And you can also see, you can choose how your elements, they will be, they will be full width, or they will be more centered. For accessibility and user experience, it's suggested that they're more centered. If it's full width, it's much harder to read it, especially for some people who have tunnel vision, so they can see only a circle of your site. Well, the part I will try to show you, maybe it will work, web disability simulator, where I can show you precisely how people with the tunnel vision they see, because it's connected to this part, what kind of width you will use for your site. And I will show you. Yes, so that's how they see your site. And you can see that if, for example, you have columns of the text, several, it's much easier to read rather than when it's full width. All right, this is just to show why it's important. And here we can change these parameters. These are the buttons. I think the shape precisely of the button you can choose the way you like. It's more about the color. If the button is too small, then it's going to be hard to press on it. Like, for example, here, the menu, like I can press, but still it's quite small. And can show you with Web Disability Simulator why it is important. For example, people who have Parkinson's disease, they have a trembling, the shaking focus. So it's going to be very hard for them to press on the button because it will always move. The bigger is the element, the easier it is for people with different disabilities, especially who has Parkinson's disease. Like that's how it will look. Uh, Here it's, yeah, you can see that it's jumping. It's hard for me to put the focus on one element. It can go to another element, like, so if the bigger is the element, the easier it is to put the focus on it. Okay, so this was just a small presentation. And I think, personally, I didn't see an information about the design, whether it should be circled, the edges, or square. I think it's connected to your design and your wishes. So here you can choose these, and here there is it's about accessibility, so it's about the colors, and they say if you can put it or turn it off, but I would prefer, I would suggest not to turn it off, because at least in Europe, starting from June 2025, there is European directive that start working, and it makes it really strictly mandatory to have accessible site. You will literally get a fee. Of course, it's not for small sites. It's more like for the companies who have, whether um, from 10 people working for the company or 2 million in a year as a revenue. So if you have one of these parameters, then to have an accessible site, it's something that might cost you up to 40,000 euros each 6 months. So it might be not good. It's better to make it accessible from the beginning. And here we can use the blocks, but we don't have it. Okay, so then I will show here, so the navigation menu, these are the parts. So you just click here and you can choose the location of the elements in the menu. Like you can move it up, or you can move it on one line, or you can add some elements here. So you can choose what the person can do, like for example, a search bar, or to add some widget. Here I just have principal menu, the main menu, and socials. This is just minimum. Yes, and you can use the design and margins for each element, but this you can choose. Oh, okay. And here we have the footer. So in the footer, we can choose the number of the columns at the bottom. And footer is quite important because for many people for whom it's hard to read or hard to access different elements, footer can save time, and it's like mini version of the site actually, just like in the navigation bar. But sometimes you just go through it, you're somewhere in the middle of the site, and you know that, okay, most probably I'm close to the end. I will just move down, and there I hope to find the button or the page that I'm searching for. And here you can put some elements, just like what I showed with the navigation menu. You can choose these parts, to add social icons, or to add to add HTML, for example, just the code. But if you just press on it, it's not big deal here, because you can see what's written. Like here I can write the name of my company, and even quite easily add an image. It should be here. Where is the image? Okay, there's a tip. Yes, it's here. Sorry, I didn't see first. Oh, okay, I don't have here some images, but it's fine. And we can also add the link here. So here you can see that you can easily see what you are doing. And if you click here, they will show you the code. So you can work as the person, as a real web developer, to add something and modify on the higher level. So yes, and the menu, it's quite important to add the menu here. I can see that they don't add the menu because for the footer, yes, it's not selected. So it's important to put it, and here it should appear, I think. Yes, that's what we see. And after that, we can play with the design and how it will look. But it's going to be clickable, and it's going to be in the footer. And this is quite important because this is like a map of your site. So for everybody who access your site, it should be accessible both at the top and at the bottom. Okay, so right now I showed the minimum how to what are the first steps, how to create your website with the focus on user accessibility and user experience. And I hope that this was interesting, and all this information will be used by you in order to create a site. And I'm here if you need help, or if you need some extra information, you can write me, and I'll be very happy to share my experience and my knowledge with you, and whether to check your web accessibility of your site or to help you to create accessible digital solutions. Thank you for watching it, and see you during my next webinar. Have a very good day.